podcast you cheer for. Sneakers, business, talk. It's the Soul Material Podcast. All right, we're back. And then another one. It's the Soul Material Podcast. It's T-Bart, the Street Shark.
And the OGEO.
All right, we're here for some more sneaker business talk. Let's dive into it. It's a family affair for this episode.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I just found it fascinating on many angles that we're going to tackle and discuss. I'll say with me being a dad myself, the bravery of LeBron James and Stephen Curry using or utilizing, if you will, their children to debut the LeBron 20 and the Steph Curry 10 via social media, commercials, what have you, them being in leagues, throwing them on their feet. It's all about the family. And again, we talk about this off camera where we now know their kids and their wives by first name basis. And I want to talk about more about how the evolution of this even happened with the athlete in particularly we look at athletes that we look up to and so forth. Have we ever been this engaged with an athlete's family over this period of time to where I remember when Bronny was born? Now it's like, dude, this dude's going to be probably in the lead in a couple of years, and Riley being on the stage with the first ring. And now, you know, she's about my size now and debuting the 10. So just I want to really talk and dig deep into just their marketing strategy, what they're doing forward, and how their kids have an influence, and they are the influencers because, as the saying goes, the children are the future. But LeBron and Curry have in mind that as their time passes, after their playing careers, they got a long way to go as far as what their impact is going to be in the world from a holistic standpoint, from a culture standpoint, from doing, you know, community service and so forth. It looks like their kids are going to be a part of that for the next generation and probably their kids as well. So this is a whole generational thing. And I'm just proud about it and want to talk about it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And that's why we call it a family affair. It's generational. When it comes to Steph Curry and LeBron, they have been model citizens. You know, it's almost like people pick at them for fault, to find fault, or, you know, someone like Steph in particular, it was just like, oh, you're too squeaky clean, you know, and, you know, just because your faith, you know, alone, it's sad that people look at things like that. But, you know, and then them growing into men, and, you know, and embracing their marriage in the public eye, and then also just having their kids be a part of stuff, you know, whether it was Riley at the press conferences. And again, these two are two athletes were pitted against each other, you know, but it's like you can have more than one face of the league, and they're matching up in the final so much. And, you know, again, we got to see the kids celebrating we got to see them grow. Sometimes it's like those childhood actors that you watch a sitcom of a family, and then over the seasons you felt like you grew up with them. I think this is one of those situations, and with the time and timing, these are key components to where we're at today, is that, you know, LeBron having, you know, you're on your 20th shoe, and then Steph, you're at your 10th under the with your brand, the Curry brand and Under Armour. So and then now the kids are a little bit older, and now with social media and the engagement has changed, it's more allowable for these athletes to showcase their families through social media, and because they have these social media and such strong followers, they get to have more control of their narrative and what messages they go out, you know, and they have more awareness of even this part of where they're at in their career. Just think about how sponsorships work when they both got into the league, and then how they work now, because now you're in more of ownership. LeBron owns production companies and have his own shoes. Like, you don't have to worry about, being interviewed. Like, you own the platform to do interviews, and you ask and answer the questions how you see fit. And so it's the same thing with Steph as well, with his maturity and growth in the business, and establishing his own brand, just to be able to control the narrative. So you want to have, and that's the type of brand that he wants to have. You wants to see the unboxing with his daughter unboxing the shoe. Like, that's the type of connection that you want to have with him and his brand as well. So, and then the same thing for LeBron. Just thinking about how many social media videos he posts with his kids where they're just shooting hoops in the backyard. Well, the commercials are shot in the backyard too. It's the same setting. So even for the new LeBron 20s, that was in the backyard. And then the same thing. There's a Beats by Dre commercial as well that's shot in the same location in his backyard. I'm sure that there's probably some tax benefits or something like that to write off your own property as a commercial benefit or something like that. But I'm sure that that's part of it too. But then someone like for LeBron, where you're at, the storytelling, the shoes and the models, they're always built for where he's at in his career, and what he's trying to do through the season. Kobe did the same thing, but in this case with LeBron, for the 20, it's a heavy emphasis on the youth. There was a lot of input from his sons and younger people to say, what do young people like? Like, on the inside of the shoe, it literally says it's made for the next generation, right?
Thanks.
So he's even ascending beyond where he's at in his 20th season, 20th signature shoe, and saying, I'm starting to think about the future. And who's the future? Bronny and Bryce. So what better way to have your sons, who are actually on a European tour, to be the first ones to put those kicks on court, and not only debut them, but you debuted them in a performance setting. And then Bronny went viral in a couple games, where he dunked on somebody, and then Bryce was doing his thing, and this happened to be the same summer that Bryce just grew, I don't know, 5-6 inches.
Seriously.
So now you're taller, you're almost tall as your dad. Yeah, you're taller than Bronny now, and you still got 2 more years of high school. So just for them to pull that off, and that was part of the strategy. And then now, as we're going into the high school season, what they just announced, Bronny has an NIL deal with Nike. All right, and he has an NIL deal with Beats by Dre.
Right.
What a coincidence! That's how generational wealth is done today. They are showing us this blueprint. So I can't wait to see more of what Steph does with his kids as well, and just incorporating them, because Steph, I know LeBron writes his kids' names on stuff, and then they have their family foundation colorway, but just tap into the Curry colorways too, because they're also telling stories about his kids, and kids helped design some of the colorways, or his youngest, he has a son as well, Cannon. So just the young wolf, so whether it's on the shoes or it's a collection of apparel, just always showing homage to your family, and that's just admirable efforts by those 2 signature athletes in the NBA, and just wanted to show homage to that here on this podcast, because that's serious, and we want you to see the depth of how much how important it is to be able to control your brand, and do things to you the way you want to, so that you can be as philanthropic as you want to, and not have to worry about any bureaucratic tape and any optics of, other companies, stealing the shine, or, because I know especially with Curry, you have particular initiatives and where revenue might be shared with philanthropic organizations, or for foundations and teaching initiatives and community initiatives as well. So and that's just here in the United States. Like we're talking about global reach as well, because there are plenty of people that know all the kids' names as well around the world. So you giving your kids options. They don't even, none of them have to play sports or anything like that, but they can still make deals and have ownership of these things.
Key thing you just said, Tony, and something just sparked in me, and I have to say this because with the evolution of just marketing and, like you said, power in the athlete and so forth, back in our day, particularly in the 80s, 90s, even early 2000s, we all knew that not everyone could be a Ken Griffey Jr. And I think the pressure of being a daughter or son of an elite athlete, it almost came off as if I don't want my child in the spotlight because they may not be the next me. And I think we have transition in which no one cares if Riley never picks up a baseball or a soccer ball or what have you. She could be an entrepreneur and a businesswoman. No one really cares now if Bronny and Bryce aren't Hall of Famers if they do make it to the league, if they even make it to the league. It's to that point now where I think it's just so cool that things have really subsidized to where a dad can be a dad. And the dad can now be strategic to say, okay, fine, if something happens to me tomorrow, my kids are going to be set in this world, not only from a financial standpoint, but they have the ability now and the resources and everything else to say, this is what you're going to do. And you're going to be a part of this at this age and this time. And it doesn't matter if you do what I do and you're better than I was, or if you're worse than I was, that doesn't matter. And I think that in the past, that was really huge for kids to have that kind of pressure. And I don't think that Bronny or Bryce or Riley really had that pressure because they are a part of what you said, the family brand overall. And that's just generational. So whatever they're going to do, they know they're going to be successful because they have the pathway to do what they want to do and not just what dad has done or is doing.
Yeah. And I think some of it also has a lot to do with the way the world changed in views. Again, social media in particular, it gives you realer time access to these athletes that, and then you're almost in their homes with you. So now there's less guesstimation of that pressure because you didn't see Michael Jordan, you didn't see Marcus and Jeffrey, you didn't see them growing. You going to see them at a game or something and or whatever where they take a picture. But again, you didn't have the 24-hour social media feed of seeing pictures of them and videos of them at the game, right? So because think about that time lapse and the repetition of what you see, right? That's part of it's out of sight, out of mind, right? So, but Michael Jordan has kids, so it's just like I bet you they're this and I bet you they're that. You don't even see them grow. You don't even know how big they are until like they finally get out of high school or they're playing high school, and then that gets covered or whatever. But you don't even see them getting to grow. And then that's what makes it not fair that they have these expectations, and a lot of the expectation is speculation because no one's even seen what your potential was. Your potential is attached to what your dad is. But like someone like Bron, you can grow, and you can, like Bronny, you can critique him through multiple years of what was going on. So you don't have to sit there and speculate. You can be like, oh, well, he may not be Bron, but his jumper is a little more developed than what Bron was at that time. So maybe he's just a shooter. But then you see Bryce, coming in doing his thing. And then all of a sudden now he just shot up taller than everybody else. So he got the handles and they're all working out together, because now we see workout videos of them in the Lakers facility of them all working out together. Like something's going to be good out of that. You know what I mean? So, and again, I look at Steph maybe in a Kobe like just because he has more daughters, or at least they came first. But not all of Kobe's daughters, RPGG, she wanted to take the mantle, but is other, he might play volleyball or something like, hey, whatever. Volleyball is in the Curry family as well, from his mom Sonia and his sister Slidell as well. You know what I'm saying? So
and we have that information. You know what I mean?
And we saw it all happen.
Exactly.
So we know everything. We know about Seth. We know about his journey as well. So these type of things just give us access. And that's what kind of curbs the speculation. I think that's where some of that has also come into play. And then now it's just like, what's next? You know what I'm saying? So that's why I think that these things are natural. But I just love, like, it's all about time and timing. So just the 10 shoe, and Riley was turning 10. That was just, it just works. It just makes sense. And you have young kids buying the shoes. You have young girls buying the shoes as well. So, that's you kind of, when you put people, you make yourself less untouchable, or like Allen Iverson used to say, like, sometimes you just got to let the people touch it, to let you know, just let them know that you're real, because sometimes you feel like you're so a unicorn or whatever, this mythological figure, that it almost doesn't even seem real, and then you're like too perfect. It just doesn't seem real enough. These things humanize it, right? Because you just told a story. You're a dad. You relate to it, right? You relate to the emotions. You relate to the pride. I'm not blessed with kids, but it's just the I can empathize with what that feeling is like, and you really, there's a sense of pride that comes with that, and then especially when you're establishing something that you didn't have. Think about LeBron and his upbringing, then versus Curry, because Steph, because it was different, because Steph, he had a shadow. He's the son. He is the son
of that pressure.
So who would know the most, about what that experience is like, and the do's and don'ts to raise your own kids or whatever. So because some of it he chose, because he knew that there was going to be a different level of pressure as well. And then LeBron, I'm sure he's not forcing his kids to play, but they get to choose. But I'm sure that if they were found, love for another sport, it would be supported the same. So I just like, giving the kids the opportunity, and it's authentic. And I think that's what is what their brands are about: authenticity, and that type of transparency just leaves it authentic. It's like we are there sitting on the front porch too, unboxing, or we're a part of the family too. We're in the backyard with LeBron. Put some hamburgers on the grill, with your Beats by Dre and Nike 20s or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think that's it.
And again, shout out to the product. Let's call it what it is. The LeBron 20s are absolutely dope. The Steph 10s and that UA Flow Tech is on a whole nother level. So at the end of the day, it's not like the kids are involved and then some whack was produced. No, they were thoroughly involved. And the reviews I've gotten on these LeBrons, they said these are what they call the grown-up LeBrons. And I think that's crazy. People keep saying it because LeBron's always been grown. It's almost like you talked about the evolution of what they mean by that. I mean that now his kids are involved. Now he's saying that although his curtain is starting to close a little bit, the evolution of the curtain opening up for his kids, and the same thing for Curry as well. So I'm just really motivated and excited about what the next LeBron's going to look like, what's next Curry going to look like, because the family is going to be involved, particularly, LeBron's sons, and with him now having the NIL deal and so forth. This is going to be a trend for a while. So I'm now in my 40s. What do kids kind of like? I got 2 kids myself. So it's like, my daughter's asking me for the LeBrons, and she's never asked for a pair of LeBrons before. So I'm starting to see the big picture here, and I'm like, here we go. I'm like, these guys are. You
always
brilliant.
have to stay connected with the youth as well. That's how you stand the test of time, because there's always going to be new trends and new things coming in, and you always have to reach back and connect to make sure that you have. That's where your pulse comes in, and that's where your success comes from too. So, nope. all of the above is part of the equation for this to happen. And again, just that generational wealth, just that exposure, the options that you're creating, and the example that you're setting for future families and whatever businesses they are. Just seeing that dynamic, it makes it just that much more achievable for people that look like us. So
Models
definitely
to
wanted
follow.
to.
Models
Yep,
to follow.
definitely wanted to just showcase that. And again, with the technology, again, everything's about the future. And we've talked about some of this in the past as well, especially like our All-Star edition episodes where, the shoes have to perform. And then you have to perform in the shoes. If you don't have these defining moments on the court, then we care a little less. And it's less and less when you don't do it. So, we're talking about two champions and multi-champions at that. So just they've proven themselves, and they've proven that they've earned the right to tell their stories and tell their narratives for their brands, and not have companies to just tell them what to do and they slap their name on it. That's the evolution from when they got into the league to where deals are today. They have control, they're taking control, and they're setting the example for everybody else. And we just want to highlight that because, again, clarity over popularity over here at the Soul Material Podcast.
Yay.
So
till next time. Yeah, definitely. Shark, appreciate you, boy. Yeah, but till next time, the OGEL.
There you go. T. Martin Street Shark. Another one in the books. Soul Material out.
Yes, sir.